listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
So I'm curious. I also just want to flag that I know I sound terrible because I have a bad cold, but I'm here. So if I sneeze or anything, you'll know why. Anyway, what I was going to ask was, how quickly do you get into comfy clothes when you arrive home? See, my front door is right by my bedroom door, so it's kind of just like I go right from the front door and straight into my bedroom. And I think I'm in pajamas within maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm similar. But like, you go into work more than I do. I've been working from home. So I tend to just wear comfortable clothes all the time. And I'm so mad when I have to go into work and wear like proper clothes and like think of an outfit and make sure my hair and face look presentable. Like, it's so time consuming and so exhausting. And I'm just like in such a bad mood when I have to do it now. That's like a side effect of work from home that not many people talk about.
No.
I haven't left my house since COVID. So I haven't had to worry about it. It's like, change when you get home from work. Who goes out to work? That was my thought. I honestly, I've been wearing the same jogging pants since March of 2000.
Wow. March of 2000. Not even 2020.
They're just atoms being held. Yeah, I know. It's just, 2020. You're right.
Okay, yeah.
But it's just atoms being held together with an elastic band. There. That's my outfit. That's why no one's looking beneath. The camera is facing the upper part of me. I've also, I think, had this shirt since before the pandemic, and I just wear it all the time. I go out at night sometimes, but work? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Never again.
Gosh, well, I mean, and yeah.
Why are work clothes so uncomfortable to wear? Like when you have to go into the office? Because like you don't need, I don't know, like the kind of office job that you do. Like why do you need to wear like stiff, uncomfortable clothes? Let's think about that.
Yeah, and it's like some kind, and also it's sort of in a weird way as like a parade. It's like you have a costume and you're in the parade and you need to wear it to this event called work. But
like, why isn't it okay to wear athleisure to work?
Because you might be comfortable, and then that undermines the entire idea of late stage capitalism.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, I'm going to go with that. I mean, there's also that whole presentation thing. I think that the COVID crisis has helped with that. But, that whole, business casual, there's nothing more disgusting than business casual, frankly.
Yeah, I agree.
And like Friday casual, where you've got like your button down shirt and your dad jeans. No, like I'd rather see somebody wearing Lululemons than that, because you look ridiculous. And the people, like the brown loafers with the black belt and the light stone washed jeans, and the same shirt you would wear on Monday, but it went through the laundry. Let's put an end to that.
Where did that come from? Like that was a big thing for a while, right? Casual Friday. That was a big, like it was and now when I think back, hopefully at the time I thought it was horrific as well, but now it just sounds so sad. So
I think it just
sounds like this kind of like announcement that we understand you're incredibly uncomfortable 5 days a week, so we're going to let you feel good in your own skin for 1 day of the week.
But it wasn't even your own skin. It was almost like the Gap lobby. Right? It was, denim and a button-down chambray shirt.
No, you're right. It was a different uniform. You're right. It's like sort of there was one uniform and then you were allowed to wear the second uniform.
Exactly. No tie. Woohoo.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, what happens if you just start wearing athleisure to your office job? Like, is somebody gonna talk to you? Like, what's gonna happen?
Have you ever watched the show on Netflix, Selling Sunset?
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay, you know, it's these realtors. I don't know if you've seen the outfits they wear. It is it's unbelievable. It is like like one of the episodes they're going to a party. There is literally no difference between the outfit they wear to work and the outfits they would wear to a party. None. Zero. It is wild. I don't know where this came from.
I've never understood that. The whole realtors being way dressed up and having really flashy cars. No, just the whole idea of realtors having flashy cars and being really dressed up. Because I'm kind of like, well, that's money I paid you or I'm about to pay you. I'd rather you look a little more destitute, frankly, because you're living off my dime and my sale. So I don't think they should be like all flash because sure, you could sell $1 million home, but you know, it's the West Coast of North America. Anyone can sell $1 million home. I mean, you don't need Gucci shoes to do that. That just makes me think your percentage is too high.
Honestly, just put an episode on without you don't need the sound. You don't need to know who the people are. I do, unfortunately, but you don't need to, and just have a look at their outfits. That's all you need to do. It's crazy. But I was going to say that there was something else I was thinking about, and I know we've had conversations about, you know, the COVID look and what we would wear at home and things, but I have noticed there's this singer in a band called the 1975. Do either of you know them?
Yeah.
Didn't he date T Swift for like a hot minute?
Yeah.
So I've heard
Maddie
of him. Yeah,
Healy.
there we go.
But one thing, I love his style. And one thing I noticed, like he has kind of like he'll wear like baggy Frank Sinatra sort of pants and dress shoes, like a nice shoe and like maybe a polo, but a, you know, like a bit more of a real kind of upscale one. And I noticed that, you know, one thing he doesn't do, which I am so tired of, is the grown man jeans and running shoe with blazer look.
Oh, yeah. Especially if it's like a skinny jean.
Oh. Skinny jeans had a really long time on the stage. They got a good 2 decades. It's longer than the usual cycle. So I'm glad the wide jeans are coming back, but it's already getting ridiculous. I mean, I'm waiting for the Jinkos to come back where you could fit 2 people in each pant leg. That'll be fun. The youth will look great.
I mean, I guess, but you know, then there are worse things than the skinny jean on the man with the running shoes and the blazer, and it is a boot cut. Let's admit that.
I mean,
a stonewashed boot cut. Ugh. Yeah. You gave me the shivers.
There's just something about seeing this Maddie Healy, and he looks like an adult. And he looks like an adult that, you know, wanted to care about his appearance as he goes on stage, as opposed to that I'm, you know, like this obsession with wanting to look like a young guy, even though I'm sorry to tell you this, middle-aged guy, no young guys are wearing that jean, running shoe, blazer look at all. Like that, it doesn't make you look
with the pork
younger.
pie hat.
Oh! Oh my God. Like, I just have a feeling that's all over Vegas right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like some man who had like some woman do a makeover for him in the year like 1998 or something, and just, you know, stuck with that look of rolled up jeans, like the desert boots, the pork pie hat, the blazer, and it, you know, grows a beard to go with it, kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even need the woman to give him a makeover. It's just if that's what he was wearing when he graduated high school. In many cases, that's what he's still wearing today.
Yeah.
It's you kind of dress for what was the best, right?
I'm going to add to this look because I noticed this so much when I was in Hawaii. So those same guys have a look that they, you know, with the cargo short in Hawaii with the bizarre tattoo on the calf. I don't understand that either.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
why do I feel like we're just talking about a slightly less attractive Nick Lachey this whole time? That's all we've been talking about.
I do. I agree. And I also just want to add that this has been very fun, but I don't see a segue coming to our topic. Do either of you? It's a quest. I'm a challenge to both of you.
I mean, we mentioned Nick Lachey. There's Brandy. They were around the same time. 98 Degrees is barely above body temperature, and this is a tepid film. That's what I
Oh boy. All right. Well, since it is Christmas, I guess it's a good idea to just launch in. And also, before we do that, I'll mention that Andrea Warner could not be with us, which sounds like she died, but she did not. I just meant
she's just
not
busy.
here. And she's just busy.
And so we're thrilled to have Stephen Schelling.
Yahoo!
Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
You only come on for our best episodes.
Stinkeroos. Yes. Oh, the absolute best episodes.
Like Xanadu and now this movie.
Yes.
And I will say for anybody who listens to our podcast on a weekly basis, we spent a lot of time last week on talking about, our movie was Four Christmases. Stephen, have you seen that movie?
I have seen part of it. Like the first 20 minutes?
That's a good call. Good call. We
Might
spent
be
a
a bit
lot
too
of last
much, but
week's
yeah.
We spent a lot of last week's episode talking about how it's the worst Christmas movie ever. And then we proceeded to watch this stinker of a Christmas movie. Lisa, have you changed your mind about what we talked about last week?
In what way? About how it being the worst movie I'd ever seen, or?
Yeah, worst Christmas movie you'd ever seen. Is it still? Four Christmases.
I'm going to add some qualifiers and some overthinking on this. I'm going to say that this movie knows its lane, and for that I will respect it. Four Christmases was trying to actually be something, and for that I can't forgive. What do you think?
Oh, okay. So you still think Four Christmases is the worst?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. There was no good spirit, no feeling of joy, whereas in its own weird way, Best Christmas Ever was trying for something.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I find that these two movies are so bad, but in totally different ways. Like they're both like negative 5 stars for me, but for completely different reasons. But yeah, maybe I still will say marginally Four Christmases is worse.
Yeah, that's I'm going there too. And Stephen can't say because you haven't seen all of Four Christmases.
No, but I'm thankful that I didn't, because it sounds to me like, wow, that must have been really bad, because if that one's worse than this one, wow.
Well, and okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, we are talking about a new Christmas movie starring Brandy and Heather Graham. It's called Best Christmas Ever!
Exclamation point.
And
it's a very presumptuous title.
It really is. And I don't really understand it. I don't know how this is the best Christmas ever, but I mean, I guess what I always go into these movies with one question, and I know we finish on the question, does this pop? But I feel like with a Christmas movie, we might want to come up with a new question, which is like, do you imagine this becoming a family tradition? And no, I will.
A Manson family tradition, maybe, but not a regular family tradition. No, no, I don't.
So just quickly, I will read Stephen's bio for anyone who's not familiar. Stephen Schelling is a writer, fashion stylist, PR executive, professional gadabout, and our resident expert in all things fabulous. He's a longtime friend and frequent guest, appearing on our episodes on Grease, Funny Girl, Dangerous Liaisons, Xanadu, and most recently, Lost in Translation. We are thrilled to have him back. Thank you, Stephen. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. That's quite a stable of films. There's some real highs and lows in there, isn't there?
Not
one of them, except for this one, has an exclamation mark. So there we go.
Next time you're on, though, you're going to be, and our last episode, Best Christmas Ever. So
Exclamation point.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you want to read the background and some synopsis since they're both pretty short?
Yeah, sure. Best Christmas Ever, exclamation point, is a 2023 American Christmas romantic comedy. Film directed by Mary Lambert and written by Todd Gallicano and Charles Shire. The film stars Heather Graham, Brandy Norwood, Matt Candano, and Jason Biggs. And the plot, such as it is, every Christmas Jackie, and that is played by Brandy, sends a boastful holiday newsletter that makes her old college friend Charlotte, Heather Graham, feel like a lump of coal. When a twist of fate lands Charlotte and her family on Jackie's snowy doorstep just days before Christmas, she seizes the opportunity to prove her old friend's life can't possibly be that perfect.
And that is from Rotten Tomatoes. So how did you feel going into this movie, Steven? What were your expectations around it?
I was hopeful, oddly hopeful. I'm a big old Brandy stan. I think that she's never gotten the flowers she deserves for her musical career. I also kind of liked Moesha. And I was way too old to be watching Moesha, but I thought it was fun. So I was going in hopeful. And then the day that I was going to watch this film for this particular moment, I made the mistake of reading a review. I can't remember where it was, but they were like, oh God, stay away. And I was like, well, this could even be more fun, right? Maybe this is so bad, it's good. And then I decided to combine it because it was, I wasn't sure if I'd have fun. So I combined it with working out. And I was on the elliptical and I stopped the elliptical 5 times in the first 10 minutes and wasn't sure I could go on. And I had to stop the film. So I went in really hopeful, but I think I came out of it.
You stopped the elliptical because you weren't enjoying the movie?
I was stopping the movie and the elliptical because I was like, no way. Oh, this can't possibly. No, what? So she gives her kid her phone. Who? Now they're at Brandy's house? No. And it was just the weirdest. There were so many things, even in the beginning, you were just like, the setups were so odd. Very, very strange. Like the fact that her husband, American Pie Jason Biggs, was renovating a house, but they live in an apartment and not in the house he's renovating when they could live in the whole house that he's renovating, but they live in the apartment that they don't like. Or that, her son is one of those precocious children, one of those, he's got, his little stuffy and he takes it everywhere. And I thought, oh no, a precocious child. And then we meet Brandy's daughter and she goes to Harvard, but she's 7. And I was like, oh no, another precocious child. And it had every Christmas movie trope. There's a Santa reveal and then a real Santa reveal. And it's, sorry, spoiler alert, but it is a Santa reveal. And it's just, it makes you more and more anti-Christmas as you go through the film, maybe. You're just kind of, you feel grinchy, like, I must stop Christmas from coming if this is what it's going to be like. But then by the end, it was so bad, I actually kind of enjoyed the process of going through it. I think maybe I had anger issues to work through that day, but it got me, I got a much faster and higher caloric score than I usually do on the elliptical. So in the end, it actually helped me out. It was a Christmas miracle.
And there we go. That's all we needed. Best Christmas ever.
Yes.
Lisa, how about you?
Well, I mean, I have my sights on Netflix and Hallmark Christmas movies, or I know what to expect. But I will say, and I agree with Stephen that all the tropes were there. The one I wasn't expecting, and I don't know if it will become a holiday trope, is a solar-powered balloon.
That you can fly at night for some reason.
That you can fly at night.
I mean,
I don't know.
As long as you have the magical gloves that repel Cheeto dust. I think that those are important. Weren't those a plot point?
I feel like that was so like insulting to Brandy. Like, I don't want to picture her eating Cheetos. Like, I just don't think.
Well, there was that scene where they had her eating Cheetos and it looked like she'd never done it before in her life.
Yes,
it was hilarious.
Exactly.
And she was trying to eat Cheetos and you're kind of like, oh no,
Brandy doesn't
never
eat
done
Cheetos.
that. No. That was.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated the fact that, whoever was writing this, it wasn't going to just be enough to have these two women who knew each other from school be a bit competitive. I really did enjoy the fact that Brandy had an aviation company. I don't really know what that means, but that's what she had. And that somehow Heather Graham is an engineer who also invents things. I mean, I appreciate that kind of detail, that these aren't just your own boring housewives who compete with who's going to put the best Christmas decorations up and, find the most outrageous Christmas sweater. I did appreciate that. However, it just was, by the time we got to the balloon, I was just sitting there going, all right, well, whatever. Okay. Like, we've got a higher balloon. Like,
exactly. Like, I was getting mad throughout this movie because, like, as you know, we watch Netflix movies every year. Like, every year we watch whatever Christmas thing they come out. Our bar is low. Like, I think we gave the Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie last year, like,
yeah, we were having fun.
Yeah, it's fine. For this movie, it felt like so insulting to watch it. Like, the writers are just like, you audience, you guys are so dumb. You will believe anything. You will accept anything as a premise. You will overlook all plot holes and contrivances. Like, none of it matters. I don't know. I feel like if you accept this movie, you accept that writers like think that we're morons and that we're not really paying attention and that like nothing matters. And that is my opinion.
Yeah. And I think there's also something a little bit painful. I mean, they all have, it seems ludicrously low budgets to make these. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, the wardrobe choices, like especially for Heather Graham, it's so dowdy and you just feel so depressed for her.
Yeah. That one outfit.
The one time she dresses up, that red dress where they have her looking like an extra from a scene in Dynasty in 1987 with the hair and the dress. Oh, it was. I will say, I think all the money in this film hopefully went to Brandy's salary and the stars, but also the set deck. I'm going to give this, even though obviously Brandy was living in a model home of a new Utah development, a giant one, but the interiors were actually pretty interestingly done. I'll give them that. The home looked lovely. It kind of looked like an upscale Wayfair catalog. It was nice.
It was huge.
It was a little insane.
And it was a real house.
It was huge.
You could tell. Yeah.
With no neighbors, though. It was a huge house on a flat plot of land. So I'm going to think that it's the model home you visit before you buy a McMansion in wherever Utah they filmed this. And that's why they got it for such a steal for the set. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I will say, though, that there is some nugget of something there when it comes to the movie being based around a Christmas newsletter. Because, I don't know, like, do either of you have either of you ever sent out a Christmas newsletter?
No, we used to receive one from my Auntie Nikki in Seattle. She was famous for sending us, and it was detailed. But
there is something about receiving Christmas newsletters that you kind of like, even, like if it's not bragging about it, it just comes off as that, even if they're just like kind of listing their stuff and what they did or whatever. There's like a little bit of like, you can't read it without thinking like, oh, like they're just talking about their family doing all these incredible things and going on all these incredible trips and whatever, like their lives are so amazing because they only talk about like the amazing things that happened in that year. And so I think like at the nugget of this movie, like I feel like there's something there because I think everybody kind of feels like a little bit this way when they receive Christmas newsletters. from people who seem to have fabulous lives.
Do we still that's the thing, like with Facebook, which I'm not on anymore, but I think these kind of people would be still on Facebook. The updates would be, all the time, right? Like, so I feel like the Christmas letter probably isn't as necessary as it used to be because people's accomplishments and the bragging rights and all that is constant.
Right. I still get,
do
one or two
Wow.
a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
But don't you enjoy, like, I used to love reading them.
Yeah.
We used to get them it was a normal thing. Like your family would get quite a few and my dad would sit down and write it in like October and my mom would have it typed out and then it would get printed and they would send it and we get other ones from other families. And I remember when I finally was old enough to read them and understand them, I don't know what family he was talking about, but it certainly wasn't us having such a great year. But that the idea, we did this and that. I'm like, well, no, okay, glossing over a lot of stuff. I guess in the social media era, that's why I'm like, it's kind of cool, I guess, to have a newsletter. It's almost like someone being into vinyl again, right? It's those people who are like, oh yeah, I want to do it the old school way, which is cute. I don't have the time for that sort of thing.
I would have expected, I don't know. I imagine this is supposed to be contemporary right now, but that newsletter looked a good 30 years old or something. I don't know the graphics on that. It did not look...
No, that's what newsletters still look like.
Using their old Apple
like
IICs to put together the graphics. Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
That was one of my main problems from the very beginning is, it's all based on a Christmas newsletter. Who still does that? Then the other problem is, again, how they end up at Brandy's is ridiculous. Nobody noticed that they weren't driving anywhere near where they needed to go because they just
They've
were
never
following
been to their
phone.
sisters before?
Yeah, well, new house for Auntie.
Right.
So
Okay,
what's her name? But also, you never really thought, because then they realized they're like 6 hours away from her anyway. I'm like, well, that's a lot of space. 6 hours either way from wherever it is you were going. You'd think you would have noticed a sign somewhere along the road telling you where you weren't or where you were. There's the fact that Brandy's been asking in her newsletter for years for people to just drop by at Christmas. I don't believe that that's a human thing to do. Yeah, no, I don't think that's human. That right there was weird. One of the big ones I had, speaking of set deck, she puts them in that gorgeous guest room, which already has a fully decorated 8-foot tree in the corner, but they still have to go shopping for a tree the next day. And I'm like, who puts their guest room tree up before they put up their home tree? That doesn't make sense.
No,
that's just, and that's the first 10 minutes of the movie, folks. There's so much more.
But also the fact that they're like, oh, we're here, we're snowed in, and Heather Graham clearly wants to leave. She doesn't want to stay. And she's like, oh, but we're trapped. I have to accept that we're trapped in snow. And then 5 minutes later, Brandy's like, we have a heater melter that melts all the snow in our driveway. Like, there's no more snow. And like, they clear the roads and it's fine. And it's like, why don't they just leave?
Yeah, they could honestly just go, and we would all have been better for it. Frankly, it could have been a much shorter film, right? Just show up, I don't like you, and leave.
Yeah, why write that in the script? Why not just say they're just snowed in?
Yeah, they're trapped there. The other thing that was awkward too, so Brandy and Jason used to be a couple. They seem incredibly, who cares about this, right? I mean, there are no sparks. Yeah. There are no longing looks, nothing.
It doesn't make any sense.
To be fair, there are no longing looks between Jason Biggs and his wife either. There's no chemistry between anybody in this film. I would say that even Heather Graham and Brandy, their chemistry isn't so much chemistry as it is the bond that grows between two people that are being held hostage together. I think that's what you're seeing on screen. I don't think either of them want to be there. And at a certain point, they're just like, okay, girl, let's just hold each other up and get to the finish line. And that final take, and then we'll cash our checks and we will get out of here. That's the feeling I get from watching them together.
Yeah, that forced thing they were trying for in the movie with, when Heather Graham came in and for some reason wore her coat in the house and went to breakfast in it. And for some reason, Brandy's husband is wearing a crop top after doing some exercising or something. I mean, It was really creepy. And then later he invites her for wine. He literally looked like he was hoping to switch partners that night. Like that scene, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, it's very creepy and weird.
When she first meets him, they have that wind machine blow her hair back, and then they pan up slowly up his arm. And he was just making colorful pancakes for the kids. That's really creepy.
Yeah, it was. It was very uncomfortable. And then the fact that, honestly, if I was found skulking around someone's house in rooms I wasn't supposed to be, like, honestly, it's time for you to go. Like, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything about, I think there's this one turning point we either will or won't mention, and I'm not going to be the first one to do it, but there's this, sort of the first half of the movie is kind of this joyless slog uphill. And then you get to the turning point, and then you're just staring into the void. And it sort of starts to take a plunge downhill. And then it's Christmas morning. And then Heather Graham gives you the wrap up in, those, I hate those tweet things at the end of movies. But like, and this is what happened. Clip, 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 clip.
Yeah.
Pictures of the things they did. All of which is absolutely, you'll know what they did at the end of the movie within the first 10 minutes of them seeing each other again. You know how this is all going to work out. But as Andrea said, I feel like it's almost like people will watch anything. And this was the proof of that. It's some sort of experiment. This is a Christmas experiment in how gullible we are as a society, I think, perhaps.
And I feel like it's my personal breaking point of like watching precocious child actors in films. Like, I don't want to see it anymore. It ruins movies. Like, I know that they're supposed to be adorable, but it's so irritating and so fake.
But they weren't adorable. They were absolutely terrible and awful human beings. And also, why is an 11-year-old who ostensibly is going to Harvard and has an IQ of 1 million hanging out with her mom's best friend's ne'er-do-well 8-year-old son with his stuffed animal? It makes no sense.
Well, like, also, why does she still believe in Santa if she's going to Harvard?
That's the other. She's doing differential equations in her spare time, and yet she still believes in Santa Claus. I don't understand how that happens. What kind of sheltered existence you have to live to still do that. Maybe she's like homeschooled at Harvard. I don't understand.
To be able to negotiate a mortgage for somebody, but like...
I forgot about that. Right, when she scolds the bank manager for their poor third quarter returns as an 11-year-old little girl. Whew.
Where is she getting that real life experience, but sort of not realizing that Santa isn't real?
Yeah. Huh.
Well, the good news is, again, another spoiler, is that the two moms are able to pull off quite a feat to get her to believe in Santa for just one more year. Because as we know, there's nothing more Christmassy than lying to your children.
Oh, it's true. In my family, we did that year round. We didn't just keep it to Christmas, but still, I think it's a great tradition.
Yeah, it's just, and I mean, it was like so, like, obviously those scenes where they're risking their lives in a hot air balloon.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting parts of these things because I think I blocked them out. I'm remembering that now when she's like, someone has to do it. And she's like, you're going to kill yourself for the town pageant?
So your kid still believes in Christmas? Like, can you imagine? Like, my mom died trying to sustain the myth that Santa exists for me for one more year. She plunged off a hot air balloon in the middle of the night. Like,
and so for that, I will always believe in Santa and never be mentally or physically disturbed by that event. Watching my mother plummet to her death in order to keep the magic of Christmas alive for me.
May I just say, though, that could have been an interesting twist, which would have been more in keeping with what we would have expected from this director, which is the other super fascinating part of this.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, let's
Netflix
get into this.
coffee special, Christmas special.
That is true. I when I looked up who the director was, I could not. I couldn't bring the two things together.
So it was directed by Mary Lambert, Let's talk about her.
You might never have heard of her, but you've definitely seen her work. Let's put it
Oh,
that
yeah.
way.
Mostly,
if you are of a certain age, if you're at the age that the stars of this movie resonated with you and you wanted to watch this film, you have seen a lot of Mary Lambert's work.
Well, she's done a lot of music videos to start off with. Let's talk about the classics. Chris Isaak's first music video, Dancin'. Janet Jackson's Nasty and Control.
Control? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, huh?
And Madonna's early videos, including Borderline, Like a Virgin, Material Girl, La Isla Bonita, and Like a Prayer.
Like a Prayer. Yeah. Come on.
All classics.
Exactly. I believe I texted you guys. We had a group text, and I said that the Catholic Church was so mad at Mary Lambert and Madonna for Like a Prayer, and they might have wanted to save a little bit of that public anger for this particular film because it made me not love Christmas anymore.
Oh, Stephen, it ruined Christmas for you. I'm sorry.
Just for that day. Just for that day.
But she is also known for directing the 1989 adaptation of Stephen King's novel Pet Sematary and its sequel, Pet Sematary 2.
Which I'm going to be honest and say that I have seen both of those movies. And
do you see the through line to this movie?
No. I mean, I just wanted to, I can't sing on the podcast, but I just wanted to remind people that the Ramones did the song for I Don't Want to Be Buried in a Pet Cemetery.
I don't want to live my life again.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, maybe the script for this particular film was buried in the backwoods of Maine in a pet cemetery, and this is just the zombie version of the script that ended up being filmed.
Yeah.
Spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen Pet Sematary, zombie pets.
And Pet Sematary, like the first one at least, was pretty scary. I felt scared. It wasn't terrible. It's extremely tragic and upsetting.
This film was tragic and upsetting and scary in its own way. In a different way.
I don't know. Like if Mary Lambert's, tunes into the podcast, good for you, to keep working and do some interesting projects. I will say
I think she owes some very scary people a large amount of money, and that's why she did her more recent projects are very strange compared to her earlier stuff.
Well,
but independent film awards do not win you.
No,
do not pay. Whoever's knocking at your door.
But I did notice that the top billing of this was Brandy and Heather Graham, not directed by Mary Lambert.
Yes. Which
so she also last year did a castle. Or in 2021, did A Castle for Christmas, which was the Brooke Shields.
Oh, Brooke Shields and Carrie Elways. I watched that one too. I like that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a sequel, actually. Did we do that one, or did I just watch that on my own?
I think you just watched
that was extra credit, Lisa.
Initiative. Yeah, just for fun.
Okay. Well, Brooke Shields in Scotland. What more do you want? Right?
I would probably have much rather watched that than Best Christmas Ever, which again, presumptuous with the title. I think they were getting a little ahead of themselves with that title, and it has nothing to do with the movie. No one ever says
it.
Best
And
Christmas Ever.
who's Christmas? Yeah, no one says it.
Not mine. Mine wasn't the best ever because of this film.
No,
right? Whose was
it? Get the impression that anybody had a good Christmas at all.
Maybe it was like that weird monkey who becomes a character in this movie.
Monkey Bob.
It's great. Monkey Bob's Best Christmas Ever.
Yeah, I don't. When you were talking about the scene that everything changes, were you talking about when whoever the kid's name is, doesn't matter, with the monkey, he runs away? Is that what you were talking about?
No,
yeah,
but
okay.
Grant. That was part of it. No, I was talking about the very deep and emotional scene between Brandy and Heather Graham in the locked room of the house after she comes back from seeing the billboard that makes no sense too, because who has a billboard on the end of the anywho.
For the foundation,
we don't want to give away the main.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't want to give away the main plot point of this film. I in case any of you out there still want to watch it when we're done, I would recommend against it. But we don't want to ruin the one part that might have some sort of cathartic release for you. But yeah, that's the part I was thinking of.
Okay.
Like even then, you could tell they were trying. I think that might have been the last shot of the day because they were good to go. Let's get through this. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, so we're not going to talk about the sort of plot sort of.
I mean, we could
twist at the
sure.
end.
I mean, I don't think anyone's at this point. If you're still gonna go watch it, well, we can spoil it. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So we find out at the end that Brandy's life actually isn't all perfect because her son
who was perfect,
has passed away at some point, and she didn't mention it I guess she's never mentioned it to anyone.
I believe her line was, "You don't put that in a Christmas letter," which I say, no,
mean,
sure.
absolutely you do. That's
Yeah, I think
like you
you
dedicate
should.
the newsletter, maybe, you know?
but
Yeah.
she's dedicated a foundation to him instead, so that his work could go forward. And that foundation has a billboard on the side of the road that just happens to be the road that Heather Graham is driving when she can't take it anymore. And then she realizes that she's been wrong and that Brandy needs her, this person she hasn't seen in 30 years and has basically ruined her life over 2 days, to come back. And then they have that rapprochement. It's lovely. And then the hot air balloon goes up at night. The solar powered hot air balloon goes up at night. I liked when Brandy said, "I don't know, we've had some problems with it, but my daughter was helping me with it." I'm like, she's 11. Your daughter might be smart, but she's 11. And Harvard isn't an engineering school. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I also
Yeah,
love
but also
bloop, 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 bloop sounds. That's
yeah. But okay, so this movie has like a 1.7 rating on Google.
That high?
Audience rating on Google
Wow.
right now. But in spite of that, has gotten pretty generous reviews from critics.
I think it's a payola scandal.
Why is this happening?
I think we're at a loss for words here.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm assuming kickbacks. I can't think of any reason why it could be AI wrote these, right? It could be that maybe reviewers now are so scared for their jobs that they don't want to review anything negatively. But when I was reading the reviews that were sent through, I was like, I can't believe, calling it for all intents and purposes, a postmodern look at the modern woman. I was like, what? What? How? Two business women going head to head, and it's a subtle condemnation of. And I was like, I don't know how this exists.
Yeah, listen to this Variety review, which was really positive. Lambert and screenwriters Todd Calgi, Galiciano, and Charles Shire turn a multifaceted tale that blessedly never devolves into a one-dimensional story about two competitive, smart women sniping at each other while their clueless families watch from the sidelines. Their portrayal of a strained female friendship is full of complexities, channeling heart-rending messages about compassion and selflessness while simultaneously being lighthearted and slap-happy. Graham and Norwood handle the comedic and dramatic tonal fluctuations with grace and nuance, nimbly landing both punchlines and emotional gut punches.
Did y'all see any tonal fluctuations when you watched the film? What was it?
No.
Right. It was monotone. It was like plain song.
Yeah.
It was one note the whole way through.
What film
I'm
are
so
they watching?
confused. That review was, oh wow, heart-rending. What were the heart-rending messages? Did I miss those? I can't remember.
Well, I believe it's that you don't put the death of your son in your Christmas newsletter, Lisa, because that's wrong.
But you recognize
there you
his dream
go.
by building his solar-powered hot air balloon. Is that like?
That's right. That was his dream.
Like,
It's his
Don't
dream,
put it
yeah.
in your newsletter. You don't put it in your newsletter, but you erect a huge billboard sign so that anyone who knows you can be shocked while driving and find out the news that way.
Everything about it's awful, except there's two things. I need to give some good and positive stuff from this film. One, Brandy's sort of beige tonal. There's my tonal fluctuations. Brandy's different shades of beige, cashmere throughout this film look lovely, very classic. I'll give it to her. And that first song she does with Jason Biggs is very cute. And she sings in a beautiful fashion. And I was happy for that brief shining moment of seeing Brandy on stage again,
Yes.
almost singing live, but
Well, she has
herself.
released a Christmas album, so
Coincidence?
yeah.
I too will find something to compliment this film about, and it's that it's 80 minutes long, and
Yes.
which really is
Although-
barely a movie.
But although it had like 4 fake endings, like I kept feeling like, oh, okay, we're wrapping this up. We're wrapping this up. And then they would just like extend the storyline.
I think that was just hope.
Yeah.
They weren't actually wrapping it up. That was just hope on your part. Yeah, they could end here. They could, and I could go on with my day. That could happen, and then it didn't.
No.
Yeah. But you're right. It was blessedly 80 minutes long.
80 minutes. If
Seem
that becomes
longer.
a standard for a holiday film, I'm okay with that. Like, really.
Me too.
You know,
Because I
that
keep
was-
forgetting
I
every
felt-
year that
it
It's a
felt
Wonderful
longer.
Life is 8 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
This
definitely
movie
felt
felt
longer.
normal length, but it was actually only 80 minutes. So, I gotta
And,
say
you know,
that was
like-
good.
10 of those minutes for Brandy singing 2 songs. So
Which, hey, those were some of the best 10 minutes of the whole thing.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Couple minutes for credits. We basically only watched an hour. Like, it was almost a TV series episode.
a very special
Yes.
episode. But an episode nonetheless.
yes, exactly.
It did feel more like a TV special than it felt like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. On so many levels did it feel like. And like an old TV special, right? Like back
Yeah.
when, it was just make up the lines as you go along. And you slam a
Is
door
there
and the wall moves. One of those.
Is there also something like when you watch these sorts of movies in this kind of like Hallmark Netflix, the people move differently. Have you noticed that? Like they fake run, or they're always sort of awkwardly moving their way through the spaces. Like when Heather Graham locks herself out onto that patio and she has to do her pretending it's very cold outside. There's so many, like, it's almost like watching a high school play.
Yeah.
It very much had some class of 2000 vibes going on, honestly.
Yeah. And again, just to reiterate, shocking that they put her in that hair and outfit for that scene.
Do you think that because they signed on for it for whatever reason, they needed a paycheck, everybody's there for no one's there because they really believed in the material, let's be honest. But they've done this film, and maybe that weird movement is they can't even be in the moment for that. It's just so ridiculous. To give an example, back 100 million years ago in Vancouver, there was a play called Alley Cats that was going to go to Broadway, but it was going to start right here. And they hired former Olympic ice skaters and Leah Delaria, the lesbian comedian, to be lead characters. And these 2 women thought that they were going to break the world. And it closed opening night here in Vancouver because it was so bad.
What?
Oh,
It was so bad. And even at one point, Leah Delaria on stage, the lead of this play, this musical, actually looked at the audience and said, "I am so sorry, folks." And they just kept going.
Really?
And I think that this is what happened here. That's why these Hallmark movies, even these actors, I mean, it's worse when the poor actors are at the end of a career, a middling career. But, a lot of the Hallmark actors, this is like their break. And they might go into it a little bit harder. But when you're on the downswing, it must be really tough to work with this kind of material. It must be its own private hell. So maybe
my
that's
gosh,
why
yeah.
they just... Not to go too dark on Christmas Eve, but
can we go back to this Alley Cats? Now, all
Yes.
I'm thinking is cats. I'm just imagining James Corden dressed up like a cat, and was it like that?
No, it was people who were trying to start a cat shelter. Two women in a couple trying to start a cat shelter, and I can't remember which former Canadian gold figure skater was the male lead. No, he was a ballet dancer. He was one of Canada's top ballet. He had just stepped down, so they got him
So
to be
it was
the
a
male
dance
lead.
thing as well. It was
a musical. It was supposed to be an extravaganza for the senses, and it was honestly one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And then, of course, all the reviews were coming in, and they said that no one in this town understood theater, and it was. God, what a moment. That was more fun than this film, though. But as an explainer as to why maybe people are moving weird, and maybe it's just a deep-seated embarrassment to even be there in the first place. Like, my life has brought me here. Oh, no. Right? Now I'm going to pretend to be cold.
I'm just sorry. I'm just trying to process what you told us.
Yeah, I know. So am I. I've got to know more. So you were at this Alley Cats.
I was a theater critic in Vancouver at the time. So I was there.
What year was this?
Yes.
What year?
God.
But how did it
2010 maybe?
Oh, okay.
It was poorly written. It was barely rehearsed. The musical numbers were terrible. And it was sort of a one-stop shop by these, if I remember correctly, it was two women. And it was like their one-stop, they did everything. And they were going to take this to Broadway. And they opened up here, and I think they might have done a second performance, but I'm not sure. And the number of people, it was all media that first night, and they'd even flown in media from other parts of Canada. The number of people, there were no more cabs left on Granville Street because we were all hailing them to get out at the intermission. And yeah, it was that bad. I think my boss stayed for the whole thing, and he was like, I thought you were going to stay. I was like, no, not me. No, I'm not reviewing this.
Wow.
So maybe that's where the feeling comes from, when you're just so overwhelmed, but you got to finish this. You've signed the contract. You got to go through with it.
If I need to be on this deck pretending it's cold, not the middle of summer, I will shiver. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
This is as much as you get of me. This obviously fake work. So maybe that's it. I'd like to think that's what it is. Again, the house is very nice, ladies and gentlemen. And others, you should tune in just for the house, maybe, if that's what you're going to watch. But the set design is lovely. Oh, and there's a manger scene, too. I forgot, for tropes. There's a small town Christmas pageant.
Oh, yes, of course, yes. That her husband's directing, Brandy's husband.
Yes, Brandy's very hot karate dojo owning husband.
Which seems a bit like funny after Barbie this summer with the dojo, but,
I mean, maybe they wrote that in at the end. Maybe that was a little hook for his character. I doubt it. I don't think anybody was really there for this.
I mean, I will say that Taekwondo dojos are ubiquitous. No matter how small a town you go to, anywhere, there's a Taekwondo place.
Yeah, makes 100%. Sense. That was like Napoleon Dynamite, right? They were always at the dojo there. So, yeah.
So, what are we going to say about this movie in the context of Christmas movies? Will you be watching it? Do you think it pops? Will you watch it again? And do you think it pops?
I don't think I personally will watch it again. However, I kind of want to watch it again with my best friend because I want him to go through what I did. If that makes sense.
That's a nice Christmas gift.
Yeah, I kind of want to see him next week. Like, you're really going to love this. And then just watch his face crumble on Christmas.
I have that same feeling. I want to tell someone to watch it just so they can get to the hot air balloon scene and just be like, what is this? Like, what is...
Why is this, too?
Why is this? How is this happening? So I almost want to do that. But then again, I can't imagine watching that. There are so many holiday movies. There's always new ones every year. I think I'll be fine. It's not like, back 100 years ago, whatever it was like, I guess we're seeing It's a Wonderful Life again because it's the only Christmas movie that's ever been made. So let's go back. No, we're not living in those times.
Yeah, I agree. This is like the bottom 1% of holiday movies. And if you should get to watch so many movies that you get to it, then, well, actually, I would recommend not to watch it still, even in that case. Start watching your favorites again. But yeah, this movie does not pop. I'm never going to watch it again. I would rewatch Lindsay Lohan's movie from last year before I rewatch this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should, just give a little bit of room for the Brandy completists out there. Like it sounds like Stephen might be.
Yeah.
Brandy, lovely, completely unbelievable in this role.
Yes.
And projecting all that Moesha magic from the past doesn't save her. But again, the Pashmina was lovely. And that one song, the first song, was quite lovely as well, where she's sort of trilling on a really high note, like a soft note, and Mr. American Pie is pretending to play the guitar. That's a nice moment.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas!
We like to end the podcast on things we recommend. Hopefully we have some good things that people can take in over the holidays. Stephen, would you like to go first?
I would. I'm going to recommend a TV show. It is called Artful Dodger, and it is on Disney Plus. And it stars that strange-looking drummer kid from Love Actually, who's all grown up. Mm-hmm. He was also the strange-looking love interest in Queen's Gambit. Mm-hmm. And in this, it is a sequel you never knew you wanted to Oliver Twist. So in the book Oliver Twist, Artful Dodger is caught for his crimes and shipped off to Australia, like they used to do back then. And in this, he's in Australia, and he's become a ship's surgeon, and now he's the local town surgeon. And Fagin shows up because he's been deported, and they start running heists in Victorian Australia in the outback. And the soundtrack it's sort of like a Marie Antoinette take, in that the soundtrack is by Wolfmother and these sort of like early 2000s Australian indie bands. And it's super fun, and it's a rollicking good time. And don't look for deep themes, but it's a fun sort of TV show. I think it's 6 episodes, and they're all like 40 minutes. So, it's an easy watch.
Is it a recent thing?
Yeah, it only came out last month, at the end of the month. So it's been around for about a week. And that's his name. His name's Thomas Brodie Sangster, the Love Actually kid who plays Artful Dodger, and it's fun.
I was gonna say,
the costumes are pretty fun, and he's a young surgeon trying to make his way in the world, and he's also expanding the limits of what Victorian surgery was in Australia, and he's like the first person in the world to do this surgery and this surgery and this surgery, and he's saving lives and making friends and having amorous glances with the Governor General's daughter. So it's fun.
Oh, okay, that does sound good.
Not to be confused, when I went to Google Artful Dodger, I did come up with the Artful Dodger Pub and Liquor Store in Langley. So make sure you're doing
also
the right
a rollicking good time, though. Depending, just a different type of rollicking good time.
I am. You're talking about the Outback. That's kind of Langley, right? I just wanted to recommend, there was a good, I don't think I've recommended it yet. I really enjoyed on Netflix was this little film called Love at First Sight. It stars Haley Lou Richardson, who you might remember played Portia in White Lotus, the second season. And it's just a very small film, and it's really, really sweet. And it takes place over one night. This couple meet on an airplane, and I'm not going to say hilarity ensues because it's actually pretty dark, but it's a very sweet little movie, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Huh. Okay, that's good. That's always good to have a light thing to watch that is, low commitment. So
it is, yeah. And also strangely, other casting. Because it's an English film, I think, though she's American. But Rob Delaney is in it, who I just adore.
Love Rob Delaney.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in this. So that's another recommendation.
Excellent. I'm going to recommend, I've just been thinking about the notable television I've watched this year. And I really enjoyed watching The Bear season 2.
Oh, yeah.
Did either of you watch that?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's, if possible, better than season 1.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. We get to see sort of more of the characters fleshed out, and they kind of we see them trying to take this restaurant into making it from a sandwich shop into a fine dining establishment. But yeah, I think it's exceeded its first season, and I highly recommend everybody make some time for it because it's excellent.
Great recommendation. I love that second season. Beautiful character studies. It was fantastic. Some of those smaller episodes where we just follow one character, like one character to Copenhagen and cousin working in that restaurant. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's nice to see like a TV show at its best, like still getting better and better with every episode.
Yeah. No, it makes me really hungry for season 3. Sorry.
Best pun ever.
Yeah.
So Lisa, do you want to wrap it up? I forget how we normally do without A-dubs.
She has her thing she says, which is you can find us on social media if you want to, at Twitter or on Instagram. And you can also send us an email. And I believe that is popthiscollective@gmail.com.
Yes.
And, if there's any holiday films that we're missing, that we need to see, apparently we'll watch anything. So you can suggest anything at all, and we'll probably watch it.
Yeah, if you vehemently disagree with us about best Christmas ever, write us and let us know.
We'd love to hear from you.
I want to hear it.
I'd like to know what kind of person you are, because that would be amazing. If it's your favorite film,
we're very excited
to. Please, we want to study you.
And my line at the end of the episode is to thank you, Andrea Gin, for being our co-host and producer, and to thank Stephen Schelling for joining us on another escapade into What Are They Making Now?
It was my pleasure. It really was. Oh, what a day.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Rate and review. 5 stars.
Oh, yes.
5 stars.
Oh, thanks for remembering that, Steve.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Yay.
All right. Bye,
Okay,
everybody.
bye.
Bye.